What's up, guys? How you doing today? My name is Corey from Arbiter Auto Appraisals, and today we're going to be discussing our top 5 most successful tips that should lead to a higher valuation through your insurance company's negotiation process. I assume that you're here because you've been given some sort of low valuation that you're just not happy about. You're probably a little bit bitter about it, and that's why you're looking around and searching for answers. Now, I'm here to tell you that you're definitely not alone in this. You're not going to be the first person to feel undervalued, and you're certainly not going to be the last. We get phone calls almost daily that people just feel undervalued constantly, and that's because this is a process. So that's one thing I want you to understand as we move forward here, is that this is a process. You'll hear me say it a lot, and it's not to be too repetitive, but we need to understand, we need to drill home that this is a process. It's not just a one and done. Very, very rarely we run into an insurance company that'll just, oh, you know what, Corey, actually, I agree with you. Here's the money. They usually make you fight through increments and some sort of a process. So just keep that in mind as we go forward, and also that you're not alone. Companies like Arbiter exist to definitely assist you, to help you move forward and get you the most value for your vehicle. There's no use leaving it on the table, because honestly, you just need to put that money towards a new vehicle. And when they undervalue us like this constantly, it makes it very tough to have to come up with that personal cash to replace that vehicle. So knowing these valuations is absolutely huge. I encourage you to fight on your own or look at services like Arbiter to assist you. But having said that, let's get into the list. So honestly, guys, number 1 on the list is be nice to these people. They're just doing their jobs. I know they come off as kind of arrogant and mean, and usually that's just in the beginning. Once you kind of, send a few emails or talk to them on the phone once or twice, if you're polite and courteous, they start really giving that back to you as the process goes on. So just keep that in mind. It makes everything simpler when we're just kind and polite to these people. It's just going to be one thing that just helps us at the end. I know I get so many phone calls all the time when people are usually in battle mode, and then when the adjusters are at horns locked and it's just not going anywhere, it just doesn't help the process when we get into battle mode. So if you're there, we can certainly get you out of that and move the process forward. But if you're just washing this fresh, and you're just looking to move forward, then I would certainly start with be polite. There's no reason to get mad at these people. It's a process. It's going to work itself out as we go along. So just be polite, be nice, be courteous. So that's point number 1. Number 2, and this is the big one. This is, if you don't do anything else that we say here, just do this one, because this is the most critical point, and that is know your options. You need to ask your adjuster before you get started on anything. So I disagree with the price. Can you please tell me, what are my options with your company? That'll help set the guideline for what your insurance company is going to be willing to accept, what you're going to have to do to get there. So usually it's a 3 to 4 step process. It'll kind of be like, work with your adjuster, step 1. Number 2 is, okay, if that's not going anywhere, we'll bring in a supervisor and see if we can't solve the price from there. Step 3 will be like an arbitration where, you can represent yourself and kind of give all the details and etc. And hopefully they can find or close in on a price. And usually number 4 comes down to some sort of court-appointed appraiser that comes in and says, this is the value, we need to stick to this value, and kind of go from there. So huge point, because that point is going to set the tone for this conversation, is that, you've already said, no, thank you. You've asked what your options are. They have to tell you what their process is to fight with you to get a higher valuation. So there usually is a process. I haven't run into one that doesn't have a way to deal with you, the fighter. So keep that in mind as you move forward, and it's very important to know that option, because it does set the tone for the whole conversation, and then you stay in the realm of what they expect and they don't expect. So please keep that in mind. What are my options? That is the biggest reason. That brings us to step number 3, comparables. I know it's repetitive, but this is a process. It's a process. The magic word that we keep using, but you will understand that as you move forward. But comparables tend to set the benchmark for what we're asking, and the proof of why we want this valuation. So your insurance company will expect them, they will demand them. I once had an insurance adjuster say to me, well, Corey, I just can't give you more, even though we both know the vehicle is worth more, but to them and their bookkeeping and everything else, you're gonna need comparables to move forward. Now at Arbiter, we get so many phone calls of people that have already found their own comparables, and they submit to us this big list that they've already submitted to insurance, and they're not getting the valuation and they're not moving. One, they're usually in battle mode. They're just so upset, and they've yelled and they screamed and they said everything they can to get this valuation. The adjuster is just not moving, but it's usually because they have the wrong type of comparables. Comparables play a very important role here, so there's a few things you need to understand when searching for comparables. Number 1 is stay in your class. If you drive a whatever make of model and it's an LX, there's no business searching an EX, because they're not the same car. Now, so many people think, yeah, but it's just a couple options different, but insurance likes exact things. Now, another thing you want to consider is that kilometers. If you have, just easy numbers again, you have 10,000 kilometers on your car and you find out it's 120, those are pretty tough to compare. So you want to kind of keep that within 50,000. This isn't written in stone. We all have formulas how to work it out. It's just going to be easier if you can find a vehicle within that 50,000 range. So keep that in mind as you move forward with comparables. And also when you're searching for the right comparables, stay in your area. How insurance likes to see things done is your postal code plus 250K in Canada. And then if you can't find anything in 250K, 500, can't find anything in 500, then 1,000, provincial, national. That's kind of how it goes. So if you can find two comparables in your area code and that's it, and the rest are at 500 or 1,000, you can go ahead and submit those because they're going to be looking for the same sort of thing and they're going to find the same information. But stay as close to home as possible and work your way out once you start looking for those comparables. Now at Arbiter, we suggest, and what we do when we submit these forms is we do 3 at a time. So we suggest you at least find 9 comparables that kind of prove your number and can kind of come up with the same sort of number to get you the most value. So keep that in mind. Very important step. Comparables, you're going to need them. They're going to make you use them. They become the foundation for how we build our cases. So now moving on. Step number 4, stay firm. When you find a price, honestly, whatever price you're comfortable with, even if it's at the high end, just stay firm. These companies move in increments and they usually come back. At first increments can be $100 or nothing. Next increment, well, okay, I tell you what, we've argued long enough now. We wasted enough of each other's time. Maybe we'll come up 1,000. Well, it's still not enough because so many people think they've won once they've moved a little bit. That's not the case. There's usually more to go. Again, if we followed all the steps, you've been polite and courteous, you've asked what your options are, you understand which processes are acceptable and what's going to move forward, then there's nothing wrong with staying firm. You're never going to go to jail for asking for more. This is just the negotiation process, so don't be intimidated by it. It is part of the process, so stay firm. If they come up enough to make you happy, you can go ahead and settle, or you can keep fighting for that valuation. Just say no. That brings us to point number 5, and this is pretty much point number 4. Just keep saying no. Say no to that first offer because I can almost guarantee you that it's low. Second, third, usually low too. What I find, it takes 3 rounds. So 3 rounds of saying no, sorry. I know in most cases, an insurance company will say like, okay, fine, then we're gonna have to go to arbitration. So, go ahead. If you do nothing else, just say no to the first offer, more than likely the second offer, and probably the third offer before you start getting anywhere, any sort of traction. Now, again, this is just a part of the process. If you're gonna fight on your own, I wish you the best of luck. Here at Arbiter, first phone call is always free, so don't hesitate to give us a shout. Check out the website at www.arbiter.ca and just see what we have to offer. Good luck, guys. I wish you nothing but the best. A win is a win in this world, so continue to fight and moving forward. Thank you and have a good day.